Hello, everyone, and welcome to the GovTech Demo Day. My name is Aruna, and I'm the manager of GovTech Lab at Agency for Science, Innovation, and Technology, and I'll be moderating the event today. Thank you all for joining us today for the exciting afternoon ahead. And in the next few hours, you'll hear from startups and companies that are creating tech solutions for public sector challenges. You'll also hear from public sector institutions that opened up to innovative ideas and participated in the GovTech Challenge series. Together, they went through intensive 10-week Accelerator, and we will see the results of that today. For those of you who, for some reason, haven't followed us closely over the last year, this is our second demo day. Back in February, to finish our pilot GovTech Challenge series, we had our first demo day with one challenge from Bank of Lithuania and one solution from Big Data and Columbus. Today, we have 9 challenges and solutions ready for your attention. But first, let's kick off the event with someone who is one of the key reasons why GovTech is so high on the agenda in Lithuania. Please welcome Vice Minister of Economy and Innovation, Jekaterina Rojaka.
Thank you very much, Aruna. It's my great pleasure and actually an honor to open this GovTech Demo Day, the second one. And of course, in the current circumstances, pandemia forced many of us to be leaner, to be smarter, and also has changed how state and the local governments approach technologies. And we facing this increasing demand from both the citizens and also the institutions and accelerating digitalization process. And in these circumstances, the GovTech brings solutions that is digital, real-time response to real-time crisis. So the GovTech solutions it's a source for better public services on the one hand, and also great opportunities for the businesses. When talking about the examples, so we start from light kind of solutions from the chat box, such as Vilte, that helped many during the pandemic, or new tax authority virtual assistant Simas. And we also can end to more complex build-to-suit solutions for personalized or even proactive public services aiming at education or healthcare. Regarding the economic opportunities, just recall that Lithuania spends roughly about 12% of GDP on public procurement, which can be used to foster the demand of innovation. And just several years ago, United Kingdom, the GovTech market by size was equal to fintech, so it's a huge opportunities. And despite we don't have such data for Lithuania, the market trend is very clear and obvious. And in Lithuania, we also have some success cases, such as Trafi, that managed to expand their mobility solutions from Lithuania to such countries as Brazil, Indonesia, Germany, or Interactor that now works in 35 countries and provides innovative remote simultaneous interpretation solutions that managed to open the window also to European Commission. So having definitely those success cases that GovTech Lab has established at their last year. And GovTech Lab focuses on creating ways to empower public sector officials to look for innovative solutions that are challenges and they face every day, that we try to overcome those barriers, to be, again, leaner and smarter, and also to ensure that there is enough competition, that there are enough market players that can provide innovative solutions of the best quality. And it's great that we are building on what has been started previously, started by the Bank of Lithuania challenge, which was solved by the Columbus Lithuanian Big Data. And now this year we have 9 teams from startups and innovative companies that together with 8 public institutions, public sector institutions, are also achieving to find those creative new solutions, to experiment, to look out of the box, to build the GovTech from the scratch. So those combined teams have worked for 10 rough weeks to develop a pilot project, but of course there's a long way ahead to expand them, to scale up, to implement, and to provide this sustainable business plan so that products will find their final happy customer. And GovTech Lab has put Lithuania on a global GovTech map and accelerated to spread the out-of-the-box ideas in the public sector. So the overall goal is to do better in the public sector. And of course, we cannot rest on the laurels. The GovTech system has to maintain more steps to flourish. And Lithuanian public sector must continue to build its digital skills, embrace experimental mindset through innovative procurement, and also set aside budgets to look for those creative solutions for complex technological challenges. So Lithuania, it's very great that Lithuania has a new brand and strategy called Create, and the GovTech is one of the partners of the 3 key sub-brands of Co-Create Lithuania. So it works very well with the initial idea and the overall goal where the Lithuania wants to see it and to implement all the ambitious goals. So thank you very much for this opportunity to open the demo day, and I wish you all the luck and all the success.
Thank you very much, Jekaterina. That's very nice words from you. And if any of you is still wondering, why GovTech, let me tell you quickly why. We see many startups and innovation transform also major industries, from banking, finance, shopping, almost anything else. So it's unfair that government should be different. Why we should restrict that innovation from the areas where it's often the most needed: education, healthcare, public services, regulation, ensuring safety of our firefighters, or detecting tax fraud. Any of these issues are important, and innovation could be used to solve that. And also, increasing number of entrepreneurs are looking for tech challenges and for opportunities where they could also have a profit, but also make major social impact. So as Jekaterina mentioned, there's still many ways where we can improve the situation, but because cooperation between entrepreneurs and public sector is not as smooth as it could be, but we hope that GovTech Challenge Series is a first small step in trying to change that in Lithuania. And I hope that today proves that. So a few housekeeping notes. Please use the chat function on the right to interact with fellow participants and ask questions. And of course, please be polite and friendly. Around 500 people registered to the event, so we hope that you can find useful connections here. Also, feel free to chat or ask questions in both Lithuanian or English language or any other language if you want. Also, at the top of the chat, you'll find the full agenda for today. We'll have 2 fireside chats, 9 challenge and solution presentation, and 1 final presentation about exciting developments coming up in the GovTech field. So today we'll mostly hear from startups and companies that have been working on different GovTech solutions. But for many GovTech startups to exist and flourish, we need public sector institutions that are open and willing to look for out-of-the-box solutions. So before we get on with the pitches, let's talk with Ieva, Acting Deputy Director of Communications Regulatory Authority, who participated with 2 challenges in the GovTech Challenge Series. Hi, Ieva.
Hello.
Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
So, public sector institution in an accelerator, that's not a very common phrase you hear. And we see that traditional accelerators often are made only for startups. But during the GovTech Challenge Series, you work together with companies through all that phase, through Accelerator. Could you tell us a bit more? How did you find the process? And what do you think public sector institutions can learn from that and take from it as well?
Well, the process was really interesting, and I'd say kind of refreshing one, like another point from which you can see the collaboration between public and private sectors. Because, of course, usually public institutions are seen as potential clients who hopefully know what we want to acquire, or sometimes not maybe very clearly know. they have budget for that, they write some technical specification, they announce a public procurement, and then we get proposals, we have a contract binding for both sides, and we proceed. Sometimes it's a more simple process, sometimes not so much. In this case, we had a different role, not as demanding client, but as a real partner, I would say, because it was a very good possibility to combine two, I'd say, a bit different things. From one side, you have people from institution who are experts in the field, who know the content very well, who have a very good experience for many years working in this field. They know the context, the content, the procedures, the framework, the issues that arise from the first-hand daily work. On the other hand, you have technological expertise from IT teams. And co-creating all these 10 weeks, I think really gave the opportunity to try a new approach, to test it and to see that, well, it works.
Maybe we could apply the same approach to solving even non-technical government challenges, trying to kind of have the accelerator for all the challenges that we have in the public sector. I think that would be an interesting approach, trying to also kind of push the co-creation and the inclusion agenda in the public sector. But you think your institution has been one of the most active ones in terms of looking for those innovative solutions and not just going the easiest way. How do you motivate people in your organizations to actually continue looking for out-of-the-box solutions? Because often I guess that the process fails, right? You cannot, especially for innovation, you don't find the perfect answer every time. How do you keep motivating them for still looking for answers?
Yeah, I think everything starts with a very clear understanding that life is very dynamic and you can't just follow the rules and procedures all the time. Of course, any big institution, be it public or private even, we have to have our rules of procedure, our legislation, everything that defines how we function. But we still have to leave a room for change because life can change very quickly. I think the COVID-19 situation showed that very quickly, when almost overnight we had to transfer our work from, let's say, normal real life experience into digital one. And as from my institution's experience, we did it quickly. And there are other institutions as well, or schools, for example, who some of them did that very quickly, others not. I think, of course, the mindset of the people and the inner culture of organization gives to that if you trust your team and are open with them and they are with you, so I think it's much easier to initiate some projects such as this, which is a clear experiment from our side. But on the other hand, you say to your people, I'm happy to have such people around, but okay, look, this is an interesting opportunity. Let's look into it and let's try. It's not something that is that you have to deliver the results strict at the end of a process because otherwise something bad will happen. No, you see, you look at this as a possibility to try something new, to work with your people and as well to give them maybe opportunities as well to show and to try something new as well. Of course, we all have our very specific and very important everyday tasks, but this challenge, I think you have to, first of all, you have to think with your team about challenge which is important for the institution, not just for you as let's say one of the heads of organization, but for the people who work there. And then initiative comes from them, the people who understands better than anyone else why this is important. I think it's additional motivation to dedicate their time, sometimes free time, to that and to look for solutions.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that for kind of processes and initiatives like this, it's difficult to find the specific KPIs or results that you can follow because there is so much uncertainty. And at the same time, we see that public sector often is very much for kind of set into these very specific KPIs, very specific processes that been set and been here for a while. And of course, I mean, there is a reason we're spending taxpayers' money, so we need to spend it effectively. But there is the experimentation side, which is often very difficult to measure the kind of effectiveness. Do you think it's possible to transfer these practices that you can build in smaller organizations and with great people around you that are also willing to make it more like a common thing for the public sector, more just one of the things that you would consider when you have a challenge, oh, what can I do? Maybe I should have an open call for startups and look what they have. Do you think it's possible?
I'm sure it's possible. It just maybe the question is how quickly we can move into this direction and how we solve the remaining issues on our way. I think one of important issue is really the culture, the mindset of institutions. Even the size can be one of the factors. Of course, the people, even the let's say the field in which this institution works as well. And I think that that you mentioned the fear of failure is a very strong factor that is stopping from experimenting, from trying new things. Because if I'm comfortable where I am, so why to go out of this comfort zone, so-called, and to do something different? But on the other hand, when life is changing so fast, I think at least in the small things, we can try to experiment and to try something new without fear to fail. And I think that GovTech framework provides a very good platform for that, because it's not something huge that costs millions of taxpayers' money. And then if you fail, although we know that even big IT projects in public sector sometimes fail or not deliver the results they were expected to deliver. So, but in this case, then you have, let's say, experimental controlled environment in which you know the rules of the game. You are able to select the teams with whom you want to cooperate, and you are helped all the way by the experts who provide you necessary help, which is very important as well. And this learning, what we were getting during these 10 weeks for startups, but as well for institutions, I think these are very important things. So changing of mindset, I think it's one important thing. And such initiatives and presentation of good results, I think it's one way to deal with that. Another thing is, of course, to keep the startups, the IT companies interested, because, of course, we're used to that usual way of doing things, public procurement, contract, and then we work. But in this case, really, what happens next? We have prototypes, we have MVPs, but how to ensure that this good start and good first results are seamlessly transformed into continued work on good products that can be then used by institution, by other institutions maybe, and maybe other countries as well. So I think more clear understanding from a company side what we gain here is as well very, very important. But anyway, I think these steps is just the beginning of very important way, and that smart people on GovTech team really will find the way how to move it further.
And actually, you've been working way longer for probably GovTech startups than we have been, because you've been selecting a lot of startups that are working on these social issues, social challenges for the World Summit Awards. And you've been kind of seeing this, I guess, trend of growing, especially during the pandemic, of more companies and young entrepreneurs and kind of finding these ways to apply their knowledge and technical knowledge to also solve social challenges. Can you, for anyone who's also thinking of how they can expand their and make their product even more visible. Just tell a bit more about this opportunity.
Yeah, that's a very good point, really. For quite many years, I'm working as Lithuania's national expert for World Summit Awards, and it was really a great opportunity really to follow how the landscape of digital creators, the digital developers, is changing within a span of years. So if some years ago, we really were looking at the big IT companies who would deliver products, Lithuanian products, who could be then submitted into World Summit Awards, the global contest. Now we are really relying and first of all looking for startups, because these are the ones delivering something fresh, something interesting, something that can attract attention, not just here, because innovations that we present to World Summit Awards, we have to have some social impact value and as well to be innovative. So really lately, every year, I think we have one or even more winners from Lithuania. I think that we are really digitech savvy nation, already known abroad. But especially in governmental sector, we are really during last year missing somehow something. So I really hope that this GovTech Challenge series will promote and to somehow induce the development of interesting projects that could find innovative solution, not just digitalization of some simple or not so simple electronic service, but more interesting and innovative solutions that could be then shown to the world in World Summit Awards and gain attention and contracts, hopefully.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll see many of the ones today on the stage later as well. And Ieva, you will be the first person actually to present the challenge. Are you nervous?
Well, I think I've warmed up, thanks to you, Rune, but we'll see very soon.
Okay, well, thank you, and we'll see you in a few minutes. But first, a few rules for the pitches. First, the public sector institution will start the pitch by explaining the challenge. Then the startup or the company will present how they solve the challenge and what they have created over the last 10 weeks. They will have around 7 minutes overall to present, and then we will have 3 minutes for the Q&A with the solution creators. Please ask the questions in Lithuanian or in English in the chat. And if the question is for the public institution, we'll try to answer that. Our colleagues will try to answer that on the chat. If there are any questions that we can cover during the Q&A or that the presenter cannot answer, we'll also try to go to the chat and answer as many as possible. So after 5 pitches, we actually have an exciting fireside chat coming up with Trafi CEO to talk about already successful GovTech startups. And then after that fireside chat, we will continue with 4 other pitches. So let's begin. The first challenge is how to automate illegal content detection on the internet. It was put forward by Communications Regulatory Authority and is now being solved by Oxy Labs. Challenge will be presented by Ieva, whom you already met, and Gabia will introduce the solution. The stage is yours.
Hello, I'm Ieva from RRT. Online world presents us huge possibilities, but as well it hides nasty perils. And both these aspects became even more important during pandemics than due to confinement measures. We spent so much more time online. As RRT, we manage Internet Hotline, where Internet users can report illegal Internet content they stumble upon while browsing. Our experts investigate every report, and if this information is indeed illegal, then the case is passed to the police or hotlines from other countries or other responsible institutions. But the reports from people cover just a small fraction of all illegal Internet content. We want to make this process much more efficient, especially as regards the most sensitive content, children, sexual abuse material. Thus, our challenge is how to automate illegal content detection on the internet in Lithuanian IP range in order to make our digital world cleaner and safer.
Okay, thank you. So hello everyone, my name is Gabia, and I'll be representing my team at Oxylabs who created the solution for the aforementioned issue. Before I go into the challenge that we had, I would like to talk about my team a little bit. We went into this project with our mindset on helping out this public sector. It wasn't about any gains. We just knew we had the resources and the know-how on building automation tools, as we already are a tech company that knows automation very well. We were eager to help create a safer environment and catch any potential wrongdoers. So we challenged ourselves to create a high detection rate software that checks potentially illegal content with near to human-like accuracy. So this is how our solution looks. I know this is a little bit overwhelming. This is how the software looks under the hood. We created a scraper, a reporter, an artificial intelligence-based tool. It's a very complicated process that for those who are interested, you can ask all the questions at the chat and my team members will answer you. But I'll go through the basic concept. The basic concept is RRT gets reports from other countries, and we need to make sure to get them from the Lithuanian IP range. So our software does exactly that and gathers Lithuanian web pages. Then we employ our scraper that gathers all the images from all the Lithuanian websites. All of the gathered content is compared to what the Lithuanian police, hashes, also known as all known content, illegal content that the police has. And if it matches our database, we send all the information to RRT. However, if there are any images that do not match, we send it through our AI-based software that recognizes all illegal content. And anything illegal is sent to RRT for further inspection and potential liquidation of illegal activities. So what are the benefits of the current working solution? We already have a tool that is automated and allows RRT to find illegal content in a very proactive way. Because we built an AI recognition tool, the scope is a lot more manageable, and this allows us to find any wrongdoers and create the safer internet space. And what's next? What's the timeline for our solution? Well, currently, today, we have a working solution, and that's a big win. And we will give this tool to RRT. Because it has to live its own life with them now, we will work together with RRT on testing and creating certain improvements together. And we'll try to make this transfer as smooth as possible. There are so many improvements that we can do with this tool, such as GIF recognition, video recognition. It can be not only images. And in the future, this can even be shared globally. Because this is a very first AI tool adapted for such case, this can be beyond Lithuania. This can become a global solution for creating a safer space on the internet. Yes, thank you very much, and I would love to hear your questions.
Thank you, Gabia. You were very, very much on time. Thank you very much. So to begin with, you mentioned a bit the process of building this tool, and what are the next steps. Maybe you can expand a bit more how far you are into building it and how long do you think it's until it can actually be used?
Okay. Well, currently we have a running and in development version. As I mentioned before, we are focusing on testing and improvements. So for production, we estimate full usage in January, so somewhere about January. So we believe that RRT will start their new year already using this tool.
Amazing. And can this tool be used for any other needs as well? Is there any things also that you already considered or are planning to consider? Where the next kind of cases for the usage of this tool?
Well, this tool can be used in many in cases because it scans the whole Lithuanian web pages. It can recognize images. So it is an AI tool that you can teach to recognize any illegal based content. So if we change the AI a little bit, you could use it for copyright image abuse, maybe some other illegal or violent photos, any visual content that we can feed the AI and teach it to recognize any illegal behavior.
And how do we got a question? How do you define illegal content? Is it something that was like already defined, or something that you had to work with?
Well, maybe Ieva could cover this a little bit, but it was defined by RRT, what it is. Could you please explain a little bit more?
Yes, of course. First of all, we are talking here about the most sensitive illegal content, which is illegal all over the world. It's children's sexual abuse content, and there is no doubt there is no country in which it would be allowable. And another case, the content which is illegal in Lithuania is pornography. Also, there are some other countries in which it's not. So, but as we are talking here about the Lithuanian IP address range and cleaning up this content, so these are two groups of content that we are concentrated here.
Thank you. And we have also a minute for another question as well, Gabi. Maybe you could cover, from your side, what did you find was kind of the biggest challenge in the project in creating this?
Well, it would be hard for me to answer because my tech team, maybe my tech team could explain this in the chat, because they were the one doing the heavy lifting. So I understand gathering, like all the hashes, all the necessary information, IP ranges, and a lot of technical details that I couldn't describe currently right now. So maybe in the chat.
Okay, and then if we turn then that question, for you, why you personally, why was it maybe not the challenge, but why it was exciting, or what was the most part, why you wanted to work on this kind of tool as well and be part of it? Yes,
well, mainly because it is something that I believe in, helping the public sector. It was a big deal for me, and I believe for my team, because it's on a very personal level. It's something that we care about, protecting children, protecting and maybe helping and creating a safer environment, and yeah. So that's I think why I joined personally. It was on a personal level. Of course, to improve, to learn, and to maybe do something good.
We have a few seconds left. We have one more question, if you can answer, or your teammates. Which your tool, which social networks does it scan? Which social networks are scanned by your tool? Yeah, this question I could not answer. I'm sorry. My members will answer in the chat. Yeah, and we encourage all the teams as well to go on the chat afterwards to the live stream, answer all the questions. Maybe you can find also big supporters of your projects who might want to contribute and join you on the later journey. Thank you very much, Gabi and Ieva. That was very exciting, very well kicked off the pitches. And now the second challenge is how to automatically log plane movements in the airport. It was put forward by Lithuanian Airports and is now being solved by Innerbox. Challenge will be presented by Martynas, and Liudas will introduce the solution. The stage is yours.
Hello, just let me know if you can hear me.
Perfect.
Super. Hi, I'm Martynas from Lithuanian Airports. First of all, thanks a lot to you guys helping us to be here and to solve our problems. So we see great benefit in it. So once again, thanks a lot. About the challenge, when aircraft approaches the airport, we need to organize a lot of stuff to, let's say, to welcome it, to to handle the passenger. So we need to know exactly when the aircraft touches the runway, when it starts and ends taxiing, when the aircraft is on a parking stand, start engine time, off engine time, start baggage handling system time, start passenger boarding time, and a lot of related activities in the airport when aircraft moves to the end position. Based on this information, we organize our and related companies' resources. We organize snow cleaning, let's say ground handling, fueling, baggage handling, air bridge availability, aircraft parking stand availability, and so on. So there are a lot of related processes involving a lot of related companies, what we need to do exactly at the time when aircraft is at different positions at the airport. Today, we do this by visual evaluation and with using radio, let's say, equipment. It's not automated. We have some delays because of human errors. We have some delays to organize our resources because aircraft is not always on time. It's not a train. Usually we have some delays. Even aircraft from some aviation companies can be about 30 minutes before the schedule. So we have a lot of challenges to organize these resources to be in place, to have best services for our passengers. So we approach this activity to help solve this problem. I think that's all about the problem. Thanks.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Ludas, and I'm representing Innerbox team. Today, I would like to present a Sendia platform which we are developing that helps track complex movements and processes in the airport. The problem we found, and not so rare, or should I say often, tracking of aircraft movements and procedures is being done by hand using the Excel spreadsheet or document or a similar tool. And this method of tracking requires additional resources from the airport personnel, or also it increases the chance of the failure. Moreover, it prevents of optimizing or to keep just tracking of the objects in real time at any given moment. So the solution we came up with together with the Lithuanian airport, actually it consists of 3 different steps or 3 different layers. First of all, airplanes and their servicing machinery, like the ground support equipment, are recognized as an object using videos from video cameras recording from all around the airport. This is being done by our neural network code, which marks unique objects in each of the frame of the video. And actually the accuracy I'm really proud of. It's greater than 98%. That is just amazing. The second step, or the layer of the solution, for the recognized objects, we need to add additional data like the metadata. This is being done by interact objects, like interact objects areas, putting the OCR methods and algorithms that helps us to read text or numbers on all the objects. Just to give you an example, the numbers of the IDs or numbers or airplanes, names of airlines, models of airplanes, and so on and so on. But probably enough of me talking about the boring stuff, and let's see how it looks like in action. So this is the image. You can see in my screen how it looks like after being processed by our software. As you can see, we managed to separate different objects such as airplane, people around the airplane, and service machinery, the ground support equipment, I mean. By doing that, we are sending that information to our Sendia platform, in which magic happens, and we are processing that data and giving that data to the administration of the airport. Ideally, the platform will track the status of each terminal in the airport according to the information we are getting from the cameras. And just give you an example of the questions you will be able to answer by using the platform. Is the terminal is occupied or not? What airplane is being served? At what stage of the service is it right now? And estimated time, how much will it take to basically to finish the work with the specific airplane? But going a bit deeper and talking more about the Sentia platform and taking a closer look into the capabilities of it. A clear, like the possibility of having a clear understanding of the processes in each of the terminals brings the Sentia, and time for each of the procedures and its stages, estimated time of delivery, time to finish any of the procedures that is happening in terminal. And this is being done based on historical data and the machine learning part we are doing. But probably the main question is why do they need this? So the Sentia platform allows measuring the efficiency of the processes in the airport, identifying and fixing the bottlenecks in the system, and that basically means that and that leads to saving time and money. I can see that I'm almost running out of time, but just rushing through the presentation, the team of Innerbox, we have plenty of experience, 8 years of working with different private and governmental sector, with Baltic Aviation Academy, Ignitis, and Yellow Dog. Couple of guys from our team, the core of the team, from the data analytic Ieva to Justas Žilionienė as neuroscientist. And I guess the most important part is the next step. So continue working on and partnering with Lithuanian Airport, improving our platform, adding more IoT things, Internet of Things, sensors, adapting solution to transport and logistic companies, and of course, looking for the invest and expanding to foreign markets. And the most important, I think that future belongs to, smart digital solutions. And I think that Innerbox, may help you take those first steps. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judas. That was great. Just immediately jumping in on the questions, you mentioned that at the end, the kind of the further timeline and some other sectors as well where this could be used. Maybe you can expand a bit on, what are those other sectors that could benefit from such solution in what way, how that could be used.
Yeah. So, all right. So this is a great question. So the sectors that we are looking forward to is transportation, logistic companies, industrial harbors, and basically the train and everything what surrounds like trains infrastructure. And the main goal is, as I mentioned, the platform is not meant to replace the human being, like the personnel. It's meant to help them to make better decisions, like. So it's a tool that allows you to make informative and clear decisions. That's probably it. Does that answers your question?
Yeah. We also have a question from Rimvidas. Where do you host your platform, and was the recognition model built from scratch?
So of course, for the model we are using the best practices that already exist in I wanted to say in the market, but like in the industry. So we are not doing that from scratch. For the hosting part, probably I would need my Justas to help with that. But yeah, I hope he's on the chat, so he will be able to answer that. So I probably know the answer, but I would like not to to guess.
Yeah, well, let's hope for worst case we send him the link after our chat, and then he can join the chat and answer
Absolutely.
that. Quick question as well. We have maybe time for one more question. Do you think there's any way that this, in terms of pandemic, does that in any way affect your solution? Do you think that could help people, in their industries during the pandemic anyway?
That's a tough one. I think the pandemic it touches all of us, like in every sector, in every industry probably. But probably at any time or at any stage, I guess, or any industry, knowing your data and making a clear decisions based on that data is important. So probably it's not that important, about the timing, but it's important to probably just say not to guess, but to know what to do.
Okay. And final question, let me know if you can answer that. Otherwise, we'll ask a colleague on the chat. But how you gather the data set of all the airport pictures, videos, or to train the algorithm on?
So we the training material we are getting from the airport, all the videos and all the recordings of from the cameras. So yeah, we are getting from our partners.
Okay, well, great. Thank you very much, Rodas. Thank you very much, Arminas. And hopefully see you soon. Bye. And now for our third challenge is how to detect unsafe products on the web. It was put forward by State Consumer Rights Protection Authority and is now being solved by VistalWorks. Challenge will be presented by Greta, and Wiki will introduce the solution.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greta from State Consumer Rights Protection Authority of Lithuania. And people can be shocked once you tell them that 3 out of 5 toys sold on online marketplaces are unsafe. So the traceability of such products are particularly important because some products are sold directly to EU consumers. The main problem we are dealing with now is that this work is done manually. It means it can take around 2 hours to find a single match in Lithuanian web marketplaces. The aim of market surveillance
on a human scale. The State Consumer Protection Agency, they're the experts in all of this. So we created a solution that would extend their reach. We use automated data analysis to do the online searching, and we automatically match to the products that are in their jurisdiction, which means that they're responsible for them. But really importantly, we retain human expertise in this whole mix so that we are looking in the right place and we're applying context to what we find. And this means that we're able to increase the impact of their results. We use data analytics and intelligence software to find online matches to these unsafe products. And we directly flag them up just in one place, which means that Greta doesn't have to spend her time looking all over the internet. Whereas it used to take 2 hours or more to find a single dangerous product on sale in Lithuania, we have reduced this matching process to under 30 seconds, which makes a huge difference. This means that the team regain their time spent searching and can use that to stop the products actually from being sold. And of course, this means more citizens, more families, more communities are protected from these harmful products and the dangerous components and chemicals that they contain. So let me show you how it works. Our approach essentially searches out and matches to unsafe products that are on sale on websites and marketplaces in the EU and particularly in Lithuania. So we pull all of these products into one place, which means they can be searched by jurisdiction, by product type, by town, and we really want to drill down to the most important ones. So here we're looking for exact matches to alerted products. And in just a matter of seconds, we get the results for Lithuania for these chemical products. At one click, we can see here on sale is the high-risk product, and we can quickly double check again with just one click to the EU product safety alert to see manually by eye for common sense, is this really the same thing? And yes, it is. In this case, it was bleach. But as you can see from this, what we've got is a whole bunch of other products, cosmetics, toys, all the things that Greta needs to spend her time focused on. And the key thing about this is that the effort goes into looking in one place. We've aggregated it together, but we've applied intelligence to really focus down on the important stuff. VistaWorks team, we're really experienced founding team with 9 startups and 4 exits between us. We're kind of old enough to be doing something because we want to do it and we want to make the world a better place. We've worked with Google, EY, and in cybersecurity and online retail, and we've got experience of building data technology at scale. But we built this company specifically to reduce the harm of online illicit trade and dangerous products. We came together to solve a similar innovation challenge that was put through the Scottish Government in the SafeTech Innovation Lab 2 years ago. And since then, we have worked with Police Scotland and Trading Standards Scotland to build this solution. And what was so exciting when the authority brought us this challenge is that it let us work with them very closely on a new aspect, which is product safety, to evolve our solution towards new jurisdictions and new languages. It's been brilliant for us to be doing localized analytics in Lithuanian. I couldn't have done that without Laura and Ilona, my Lithuanian-speaking team members, but we've proved out that this model can localize across the EU. So we're now ready to go into formal procurement processes next year. And from our base in Tallinn, we're now ready to roll out this intelligence software to national consumer protection agencies and European agencies across the EU. And we aim to add at least 3 more country and languages into this in 2021, both in terms of product safety alerting, like you saw here, but also illicit trade alerting, which includes smuggled, untested, unlicensed products. And to achieve that, we need your help. Please, we're better at making technology than talking about technology. Please do help us spread the word. We really need introductions and the chance to present to consumer protection, product safety, and illicit trade specialists locally, nationally, and at the European Commission. So if you can make that introduction, we'd be very, very grateful. My contact details are here. I'm Vicky Brock, CEO of VistaWorks, and together we can protect more families from harmful products online. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vicky and Greta. That was very interesting, and we actually already have a few questions. And the first one that's kind of lies in the, I guess, in the middle, in between you. Vicky, you've built the tool that kind of finds those matches, right? And then, kind of when you find the match, that's when you transfer that information to the authority, and then authority does what it usually do and what it would do even without the technology, right? Trying to find that.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there can you expand a bit more in terms of how the solutions themselves, they are, you mentioned, you would like to be introduced to different consumer rights protection agencies and so on. Can you expand a bit more on the ones that you've already worked with, or the steps further that you're thinking on expanding the product?
Yeah, to start with the expanding and how we think we can help in the immediate term, we started off looking at smuggled, unlicensed, untested, fake and counterfeit products. Now, mostly those products are harmful, but not all harmful products are necessarily illicit. So what has come together in this project is actually to focus on harmful products, even if they're on sale on mainstream websites, for example, supermarket websites or standalone third party. So what we've really evolved in this period is the ability to look not just on online marketplaces like eBay, but also to look at national standalone websites, including very reputable websites that may just happen to be selling a dangerous product. And what this means is that the consumer protection agencies particularly, and they tend to be responsible for a range of things like trading standards, product safety, but also there may be specialists responsible for environmental impact, chemical impact. Sometimes they can sit under the same agency, sometimes they're in different agencies. So yes, particularly if you're looking at this from an environmental perspective and go, actually, I care about chemicals and refrigerants, would this work for me or my colleagues? Yes, we'd love to talk to you. In the UK, we work with trading standards, we work with police, we work with tax and customs, but at the moment we're also talking with the medical regulator, chemicals regulator, and the environment agencies. And every country has their own version of that and where the responsibility sits. And of course, at European Commission level, there are different groups again. So we're really looking for all of the places where national or European regulation is not being adhered to. And then we're looking for the places where we can match examples. The biggest challenge that the consumer protections agencies face is that many of these sellers are in China. There are thousands, if not millions of listings. And the hard thing to do is find the ones that you actually have jurisdiction over. So the reason why it's so important we've pulled it together in the way that we have is to bring it under the area that the authority has jurisdiction for, and we'll customize it accordingly.
Okay, you kind of already answered quite a few questions actually that I will ask about, the different categories around unsafe products, but we have maybe time for one more question. Alexandra is asking, what commercial and private sector opportunities are there, if any, any commercial kind of operators that might benefit from your solution?
That's a great question, thank you. Highly regulated industries can really benefit from our solution. So particularly things like the chemicals industry, where they're following REACH regulation, the pharmaceuticals, the F-gases and refrigerants. If you're in an industry where you're highly regulated, this helps you comply with that regulation, but illicit trade and criminal organized gangs tend to target highly regulated, high IP industries. And so private sector and the industry bodies that represent them, they tend to experience losses in two ways. They lose market share and they have to spend a lot of money adhering to regulation. People know when they're in that space, and we do tailored versions of this that help both comply and defend yourselves from the criminal sellers.
Okay, well, great. Thank you, Vicky. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Greta, as well. Great to see this moving forward. And now the fourth challenge is how to supervise trust service providers in an innovative way. It was put forward by Communications Regulatory Authority, their second challenge, and is now being solved by Algoritmų Sistemos. Challenge will be presented by Vaidotas, and Paulius will introduce the solution.
Okay, so hi guys, my name is Vaidotas and my organization supervises trust service providers. The reason why we do that is to make sure that people would get reliable trust services. And with that, I mean that no problems with creation or validation of electronic signatures, electronic registered delivery services, etc. And reliability is kind of important here, as almost 1/3 Lithuanians use electronic signature, and issues with these services would affect them. For instance, you really do not want to hear that someone else has signed a loan document under your name. Yeah, we do that good, but we do that manually. And while doing it manually, we cannot cover everything. and some issues might be identified not as fast as we would like to. So we wanted to do that even better, and that is why we decided to take a part in this GovTech Challenge series that helped to find a solution to partly automate our supervisory activities. And this challenge was taken by Algoritmų Sistemos team.
Hello, everyone. My name is Paulius. I'm from Algoritmų Sistemos, and Algoritmų Sistemos is a company which serves organizations with process automation and large-scale customized information system development for almost 20 years now. So we are quite an old startup already. So the problem put at hand by RRT to us is that the current manual reactively performed process needs to be automated and later performed proactively. So in order to ensure high quality trust services to general public, as I was described. So the process is threefold. So firstly, we need to constantly monitor all the trust services and check if they are available at all times. So like e-signatures, e-stamps, timestamps are working and can be used by general public. We need to constantly monitor if services providers public information in their websites meet agreed conditions and law regulations. And we need to constantly monitor if there are any known or presumed vulnerabilities of service components like tokens, USB sticks, cards, certificates, etc. And if these vulnerabilities are announced on the internet and discussed by the tech community. So how to do that? We suggest that let's hire robots to do all the work and enjoy timely information and effective problem solving and decision making. So let robots do all the work because they never sleep. They will work for you 24/7. They will work without vacations, without sick leaves. They do not make any errors. They are way faster than people in times faster. And they, if needed, they can employ artificial intelligence algorithms to take more complex decisions. So for this challenge, we had to develop 3 robots and a centralized database, centralized reporting engine to see what robots have done. So the first robot will monitor, or already monitors, that all trust services are working at all times. So they are constantly trying to check the certificate if the service is answering. The second robot scans all the web pages of all the service providers and looks for changes in public information. So if anything changed, it will press the red button and notify the RT staff about the changes. And the third robot will scan various websites like tech news, tech forums, official European Commission websites, and will search for mentions of service components and their vulnerabilities. And the second and the third robot can be enriched by artificial intelligence later to make decisions and classify the information found by the priority, to which information to look fast, quicker, which information is of the less priority, so to save people time. And all the robots can send notifications to the staff of RRT via email or via internet messaging like Viber or Telegram if something bad happens and RRT has to take action immediately. So first of all, organization will have tools to manage service parameters and the profiles of trust service providers to enter all the data in the database. So like here we see, we have 4 service providers in Lithuania and all the services managed by and what certificates are used, etc., etc. Then organization can immediately see the results of monitoring on the dashboard, on the screen in Mission Control Center, for example, on a big TV, and take action if needed. This dashboard is color-coded in traffic light style, so the problems could be seen immediately when they happened. And in this example, which is fictional, we see, for example, that Register Centers, a known provider, has problems and is providing invalid responses on electronic signature services. And DocuBit, for example, has 20 minutes service down of timestamp services. And when problem happens, organization can drill down into each problem and see the details which are saved in the centralized repository on each problem, what has happened, and was documented by a robot in a particular moment in time. So the benefits and impact. So for organization will benefit from prevailing public opinion that it is a modern and effective organization capable of ensuring reliable public services, and recapture time of employees could be allocated to more value-added tasks. For employees, the benefit is that it is increased job satisfaction because they will receive convenient tools for everyday activities, and they will be released from exhausting manual tasks. And for general public, well, as Vaidotas told, we expect to see very much a lot of happy citizens receiving reliable and secure services in the time that they need it. The progress of the work is we have gathered all requirements, built a product concept and architecture, how it should look. We have written the product documentation for future reference for the organization. We had made a proof of concept or the prototype of robots and Power BI dashboard and reports. And the next steps will be to just add some final touches on the prototype and documentation and hand everything over to the organization and, of course, discuss further steps, what needs to be done to go to full product. And on our side, we'll do market research about creating a product for the European market. And I invite you all to employ more and more robots to build a better world for humans.
Thank you. Thank you, Paulius and Vaidotas. That's a very great example of, how we should maybe befriend the robots and not fear them. And just talking, about the solution itself, how long would you think it would take to actually create the full-scale solution and implement it? Not specifically, of course, but more or less, how long does it take?
To go from MVP to full product, we would need, 3 to 3 months to just finish everything and make it shiny and make it work effectively.
And Algoritmo Sistemos, of course, has a lot of experience in building solutions for the public sector. Was this time any different? Was it strange going through Accelerator phase or any other kind of differences or similarities actually that you saw or felt throughout?
Yes, as I guess Ieva mentioned previously, the context of this project was completely different from all other public service projects that we have. With the organization, with Vaidotas and his team, we were like teammates on one team, thinking what would be best, how to develop it. There were no strict requirements, no list of 100 requirements that will be checked at the end of the project by different agencies and audits. So it was more creative, more relaxed. We very enjoyed it with our team.
Well, I'm glad to hear. I hope Vaidotas is glad to hear that as well. And we have a question about, if there's any other opportunities that you can see for this project, outside this scope in the future. And you mentioned the market research. Is it just another kind of similar agencies in other countries, or is there any other kind of even type of regulation that this kind of tool could be applied to?
At the beginning of the project, we were told by Vaidotas that other European Union countries are doing the same thing because the regulation is on EU scale. So we are intended to investigate that opportunity and see if we can roll out this product in European scale. And in general, robots can be used for anything you need, anything that is manually done, that requires a lot of hours from people, managing with all kinds of websites, Excels, whatever you name it. So in general, they can be employed for anything.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll have Lithuanian robots working around Europe 24/7 from next year. And thank you very much, Paulus and Vaidotas. That was very interesting to hear, very interesting solution. Hopefully this moves forward quickly. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now for the fifth challenge is how to create a school public health monitoring tool. It was put forward by Vilnius City Public Health Bureau and is now being solved by GreenTime. Challenge will be presented by Simona, and Laura will introduce the solution. The stage is yours. Simona, we can hear you. You're still muted.
Okay.
This is perfect.
Sorry. I speak on behalf of Vilnius Public Health Bureau, and my message is clear today. Actually, if we don't get children's health right, we will never have a healthy adult population. That's why schools are the major institutions for providing the instruction and experience that prepare children for their roles as a healthy and productive adults. Every day in every school, public health professionals work in order to create safe and healthy environment, help children feel emotionally and physically better, as well as encourage to learn skills they will use to make healthy choices throughout their lifetime. And if you ask how successful we are in providing public health services in particular school, it would be difficult to define. This is because the information comes from different sources. Many tasks are not digitalized and done manually. That's why these issues make us think of a solution that would combine different health expectations from specialists and parents, as well as municipality as a founder of schools. So our mission is to fine-tune local schools in a manner that facilitates children's health and well-being.
Thank you very much, Simona. I will be speaking on behalf of my team, GreenTime, right? And I will be presenting school health paths. So first of all, I would like to introduce my team. So GreenTime is data-centric consultancy focused on sustainability. And we have worked for many years with the largest organizations like United Nations, Visa, Virgin, Starbucks, Barclays, and so on. And we are very excited and extremely happy for the opportunity to work with the Vilnius City Public Health Bureau, who is doing amazing work in improving health and well-being in the Vilnius region. Our solution is based on 4 key pillars, which I will introduce briefly shortly. But the overarching principle, which I would like to emphasize, is that we are aiming to empower health specialists by collecting better quality data, and then leveraging that data into valuable insight. So we want to make sure that we are focusing our efforts not on the code writing, let's put it that way, and digitalizing as such, but we are focusing our effort on the insight per se. So this brings me to the first of the 4 key pillars that I'm talking about. So in order to reduce the level of development effort that we have employed a number of mature web development frameworks and BI reporting software. This means that from day one, we are working on technology that was founded on decades and decades of experience, and we can then jump straight into subject matter of interest, so it is on the insight. second principle is that we want to make sure that we are not reinventing the wheel methodologically. So while nothing similar has been done attempted in Lithuania before, there is a large amount of information, solutions, and case studies done around the globe, and we have considered it and included it into our design phase. So a lot of lessons learned that have been taken from CDC in the United States and a similar organization. So, and this is not to say that we were doing like kind of copy-paste type exercise. On the contrary, we have done a lot of very localized features. The third pillar is actually very close to our hearts in a way, because we are a data-centric organization. So rich depth of the data collected by the application allows us to employ the latest and greatest machine learning technology. So as an example is intelligent health activity recommender system, or school classification, which allows a meaningful benchmarking of institutions. But I will speak about that in detail later. Lastly, and I would say most importantly is that the entire solution is underpinned by extensive user research. So at the start of the engagement, we have identified quite a number of user groups, potential user groups, including public health specialists, public health bureau, and many other. And key user journeys have been mapped out via countless interviews and different user research methods to ensure that we are making the best, the most fulfilling user experience. And of course, the end users will have the front-end users frameworks which are responsive across all the mainstream devices. So coming back to the methodology, one of the key objectives was to derive a single health measure which could be used objectively to assess the state of affairs across all educational institutions. And this is how the School Health Index was born. So School Health Index is a single metric, which means the same thing regardless which school you look at, and it will allow Bureau to rapidly detect and respond to adverse changes to the well-being of school children. And while the index might look as very straightforward on the surface, it has around 200 indicators from nutrition, environment, infrastructure, and many more. So we can confidently say that this is the most comprehensive measure of children's health in a country. And while the index is great, it would be quite ineffective if we cannot make a meaningful benchmarks across institutions. So, but how do you compare, for example, a suburban private preschool which has around 30 toddlers with a school which to have like 1,000 plus students in the city, in Vilnius city center. So this is where we again we turn to machine learning for help, and supervised machine learning model was used to classify schools into clusters of similar institutions, and with that we can pinpoint institutions which lag behind their peers and objectively identify areas for improvement. So the end result is an interactive tool which conveniently grouped information collection and reporting into the right places, and most importantly, large chunks of data have been automated away so that the health specialists can do can get the time back to the work that they do best, improve the health of school children by being present, being available, having face-to-face time, and keeping the finger on the pulse in whichever school they're working at. So talking about the next steps, we will be finalizing the POC in upcoming weeks. Our collective hopes are that when we establish value added in Vilnius, we will be able to roll out the solution in the region across entire nation. Because I would like to note that despite the Vilnius Bureau, there are approximately 48 other public health institutions, thousands of schools and hundreds of thousands of school children. So by the look of things, we have a lot of work to do. So if you have any, if you need any help regarding social sustainability challenges, please get in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you, Simona, for your presentation. Let's jump in straight to the questions, since we have around 1 minute left. We have a question from Simonas, actually. You know, for green time, is it possible to scale easily such a solution? You know, add additional data sources, and he's also saying just bravo for wonderful presentations and great solutions, just for a bit more of an encouragement as well. But yeah, do you think it's easy to kind of scale this and add that additional data sources?
Yes, definitely, because it is a cloud-based solution. So definitely, it can be easily scaled across the nation, and hopefully even in the Baltic states or even larger. Yeah.
Okay. I see to run a few minutes over the presentation. That's all the questions that we have for now, but hopefully you can join the chat after to answer any other questions that people might have. But thank you very much, Laura and Simona. And it's amazing to see how many hardworking and passionate people are working to ensure that tech is used for good. But now let's turn to someone who has been doing that for a while now and rather successfully. I'd say Trafi has been nominated as one of the most successful startups in Lithuania and actually expanded their horizons to what startups can expect to do. So Martynas, CEO of Trafi, is joining us for our next Fireside chat. Hi, Martynas.
Hi, Aruna. How are you doing?
Thanks. Thank you for joining us today. And you know, many of us here in Vilnius are using your app every day, but they're more international audience as well. So let's jump in straight into the questions. And you know, can you tell us a bit more about Trafi as a product?
Yeah. So Trafi, I think, is very differently known in Lithuania and outside Lithuania. You know, in Lithuania, we are probably known by our legacy product, which is a journey planner application, you know, with public transport included, especially in Vilnius, with ticketing and some of the other, you know, mobility service providers integrated, like CTB, Spark, you know, and others. So that this product supposedly has a few different modes, and you can use it, you can plan your journeys, you can buy a ticket, and so on. Now, what we're really doing actually, you know, and where we're making money, and then what's 90% of our focus, you know, on an everyday basis, or even 95%, is the software suite that we have, you know, to enable cities, smaller and larger, to deploy and to have mobility as a service, white label products themselves in their cities. What does it mean? It means that cities now, they're going into a more sustainable way of movement, for sure, right? They want the whole carbon neutrality movement going forward. They want their citizens to move in the more sustainable ways. And the reason for that is emissions, first of all, is the traffic jams. And in general, the biggest contributor to that is the private vehicles. You know, this is what it is. And cities wants to fight that, you know, governments wants to fight that. This is on the agenda of almost every mayor, at least in Europe, you know, and outside of Europe. Hopefully US is going to come back to the right track, you know, on that too. So mobility as a service is a concept where you integrate a lot of different mobility providers and transportation providers into one product, and people can seamlessly and frictionlessly download an application, let's say, register once, put their payment, you know, credentials once, go for the driver license verification maybe once, and that's it. Now they can use ride sharing, you know, micro mobility, scooters, bikes, public transport tickets, you know, everything, and it's fully transactional, and you can, you know, have all these alternatives very seamlessly at your fingertips. And therefore, the notion is that once you discover that, and once you see how many options there is, you know, and how can you very easily travel within the city limits, you know, in an urban environment, you will start to use your private vehicles less. And we see that for sure. We are not naive. We're not saying that, hey, we're going to produce that product and people are going to sell their cars instantly, next day. No, but step by step, slowly, the usage of private cars decreasing also thanks to our product. And we are today the largest mobility service technology provider in the world. Actually, we have the largest amount of deployments, starting from Berlin and then Munich and Switzerland and then Prague. And we are entering Latin America market. We're going to launch in Bogota and then in Santiago in Chile and other cities. And yeah, that's how we work. This is a technology software package that we have for cities, as well as for private businesses too. For corporates, we're working with Google, we're working with Apple, we're working with Lyft and Gojek and other companies who are themselves technology businesses, and they want to enhance their product experience towards promoting shared mobility. And we offering many different products to them, from multimodal routing planning engine to data management platforms to estimated time of arrival engines and so on and so forth, without going into detail. So imagine Trafi as a powerhouse of a different technological products and software, which we're licensing to both cities as well as corporates for different use cases in terms of promoting shared mobility. And yeah, that's what we do. So.
Well, that sounds amazing. But you mentioned a bit that although we kind of as a citizens, we use the app every day. Your kind of main clients are public sector agencies like city administrations and so on. Is it how you intended that the product to be, or is how it evolved over time in terms of finding those avenues and finding ways how you can actually scale? Was the public sector, like the city, like city government, city municipalities, your kind of goal client at the beginning, or did that evolve over time?
That was a natural evolution because I think it's very hard to select government and public institutions as a primary customer for you because of the long sales cycles, because of the tender processes, because of the whole procurement cycles and so on and so forth. So it's usually not the market where you select and say, hey, this is amazing, this is super scalable or so. No, first of all, we were doing our B2C type of applications, and then we understood that the operator for these solutions are cities, and we started to engage with cities, and they started to also give us tons of feedback, that we want to fight the car usage in our city, we want to fight emissions, we want to fight traffic jams, and we believe that your solution could be one of the one of the many solutions that collectively will fight this. So that's how we enrolled into discussing, with 1, 2, 3, 4 more cities, and naturally we started also to learn that this is a very big market. And why cities? Because they want to craft a solution for their citizens that it's agnostic, that it's not necessarily driven to earn as much revenue as possible, but it's rather driven to serve the community, to serve people, and to serve citizens of that particular city. Think about public transport networks, right? It's a very, very few cities in the world which built all the public transport, schemes to make money. That was never intention to build those things. No, it's built to move people, it's built to move communities, it's built to connect people. And later on, if they are sustainable and at least achieving break-even point, that's already very good. But in absolutely most cases, it's heavily subsidized by the cities, right? So cities see that in this way. Private businesses, of course, looking into that from a revenue perspective. But long story short, for us, it was a natural evolution. We saw that this is the stakeholder that is naturally the one who is going to operate these solutions, and we need to engage with them. We need to establish relationships with them. And currently we're seeing this is not the only one. We're still corporate, still private players who are also our clients, but cities and government institutions, let's say, or public entities are a very, very big part of our client base.
And there's a lot of this kind of stereotypes and this fear around working with public sector, and fear of procurements or any other kind of these official processes. How did you overcome that? And especially in terms of your that wide expansion and the range from EU countries, non-EU countries, so many different rules and different agencies. how did you even like think and then deal with that process of that sometimes, you know, maybe not necessarily true, but from the outside might look like a very difficult market to enter and navigate in?
You know, let me be brutally honest. It is true. It is true. It is slow. You know, not every city is the same, right? Not every government institution is the same. So we see some of those are very agile. They are very much, you know, problem solving driven rather than processes driven and procurement type of driven. But I would love to say there are majority of those, but that's not true. So you need to be very patient. You need to be proactive, and you need to think outside of the box. You need to be creative in the way how you approach, how you set up your project management frameworks, how you set up the whole procurement. How can you help cities, basically? In this case, you know, especially if we're talking about the products that are new, the products that are not very well defined, you know, by public authorities. And one of those products was ours. You know, this is a new market, new product. They haven't, you know, been using these types of products. So for them, it's new. If it's new, it's not in a comfort zone. If it's not in a comfort zone, you need to create that comfort zone on behalf of them, right? So you need to do tons of education. You need to run tons of webinars. You need to engage with consultants, businesses. You know, you need to really do lots of background work to comfort government institutions and cities that, hey, this is not something bad, you know, this is new, but this is good. This is not an evil, you know, this is no hidden agendas here. This is really new, innovative product. And it's fine that you are not aware of that. You don't know sometimes how to even define the procurement process for these products because they are new. But we are here to help. We are here to help with materials. We are here to help with, you know, sharing our know-how. We are here to help, you know, together with some consultancy businesses that we also educated, you know, well, as a third party that you can also trust, because, you know, we offer our products, we might be biased. So there is a need for that. So you need to be creative, you know, really creative, and you need to have a big, you know, big chest of you know, how to say, yeah, it's hard, it's slow, and it's gonna test your and it's gonna test you basically multiple times whether you are in there for the right market with the right product or not. But if you go through with that, cities, government institutions, you know, and public entities are a really good client on the long term. You know, once they get, you know, together in a deal with you, they really value that deal usually, you know, and they want to extract as much as possible from those deals and value from those collaborations and so on and so forth. So it's a secure client for you, but it takes tons of investments and energy and different types of, you know, approaches and strategies how to win those things, because it's not trivial, it's not easy, that's for sure.
And do you think having Vilnius as kind of a home base where you can, you know, then have those maybe first checkpoints or first you know, these approvals kind of in a way from your home countries, your home cities, did that help you accelerate your lot, or where was that? Because I mean, of course, there probably was a time where, you know, the acceleration, like that kind of increased way more, and you know, do you think that was the first the kind of the verification from Vilnius, or that was more when you already spread already outside, like either Turkey or Berlin? You know, what do you think was that kind of the final, well, not the final, but like that seal of approval that, you know, then you don't need to do that much of education or something when you go to the new clients?
You still need, right? I mean, you still need to do, and every time you enter new country, new geography, new market, sometimes new city in the same country, you know, you would think that cities are sharing tons of, you know, information between themselves. Sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not, and you need to, you know, again and again, you know, go through the process. But does it help to have a good playground and testing field in Vilnius, you know, with more agile, I would say, government institutions, you know, in most cases than the rest of the Europe? For sure, absolutely, 100%, right? I mean, we've done tons of testings here, you know, that we were able to transform them into a new cities, new countries, and new geographies. And even though, you know, currently our biggest, you know, demo cities, it's not Vilnius anymore, you know, where our best scattered solution works. But it was instrumental. It was instrumental. It was fundamental for us to start these solutions in Vilnius. And currently our largest deployment in the world is in Berlin, for example, right? But we wouldn't have won Berlin without Vilnius, 100%. Because when we were pitching to Berlin, I remember a few years ago, we were referring to Vilnius big time, and they came to Vilnius, they tried the product. It was multiple occasions when, city officials were traveling and meeting us and testing, here in Vilnius. And only then, we made a deal that, okay, we're going to do this in Berlin. And even though Berlin now is bigger and much, you could say, better solution overall, still Vilnius played a key role in that. And I would absolutely encourage everyone who's catering towards that market of GovTech and so on, play all your, games in Vilnius, try out everything here, be fast, be agile, iterate, and then you will be able to replicate in other cities. Is it going to be super easy? No, but you're already going to have a good proof point. And Vilnius is respected and well-regarded city, at least in Europe for sure. If I'm going and selling somewhere in Santiago in Chile, maybe not everybody cares that you did a solution in Vilnius, but to enroll into the next European cities, that's a very good use case and playing field to try things.
Well, that's very inspirational. I wanted to ask another questions, but I feel like this is a kind of a message to leave all the other teams. But just to finish off, you mentioned that you work with corporates as well, from Google and others. But do you actually find it that much different, or is it still big organization is big organization, and there are processes that you kind of have to go through? What kind of difference or rather similarities do you see then in this area?
Yeah, so when you have big corporates, the bigger the corporate, the bigger the process, right? The longer the process usually. Now and that's true. You have no idea how much of a diligence we needed to do before striking a deal with Apple or with Google for security measures, for data privacy things. Because when these types of big tech giants, when they're using your software inside their infrastructure, it's a massive amount of, we needed, until that point that in our office in Vilnius, we need to change Wi-Fi password every month because of deal with Google, for example, things like that, right? So, so there are processes for sure there, but the difference between government, maybe institutions, and private corporates, companies like Google and Apple and others, these private companies know way better what you're trying to solve, right? I mean, they're much more agile on, hey, we exactly know the problem that we're solving for our businesses or our user base, and how can you help? How can you help us solve that problem at scale, and so on? So you don't need to do education for them. You don't need to, comfort them. You don't need to create a certain secure, bubble that, everything's going to be fine, and so on and so forth. So they're much more aware of what they're talking about. They're much more aware of the solutions that they need from a different partners, across the globe. Whereas with cities, with government institutions, you do tons of fundamental education, like why this is important for your city, why this is important for the citizens who lives in your city, why this is important in general, to have these solutions, and so on and so forth. So I would say this is the biggest difference. Is it faster sometimes with a company like Google to work with? Not necessarily. Took us 3 years to convince Google to with the very tiny steps where they started to use some of the bits and tiny modules of our system to fully deploy our software internally at Google, so that people who work at Google around the globe, would use our software. 3 years of convincement, that this is a good idea, and we finally did that. So that is super long sales cycle, but worth to do. Sometimes cities are even faster than that. But again, this is just different mentalities and different way that these corporates are working and solve their problems and their user needs.
I guess the takeaway here could be, try to find probably both areas where, in both sectors or with different clients, so that you can mitigate then, what's between the private and the public sector. I see that our time is kind of running out shortly. Is there, of course, you mentioned a lot of the tips around being creative, education, and other areas. Are there any other tips that you would like to leave Today we have 9 companies that are kind of starting, some of them starting their way in this field, that you would like to leave them with, so that they can take on and then build and scale their solutions?
Yeah, I think I've told you a lot, right? I mean, already in this regard, but the final thing would be just hustle your way into the relationships, hustle your way into getting a good introductions, with the right people, really map your stakeholders, especially in government institutions. Super, super important, because you might get into a never-ending, conversations, who is making decisions, who are not, elections, people are changing, and then so on and so forth. Really map out your stakeholder, ecosystem for your product, for your solution very carefully, target the right people, and just keep hustling. I think this is one of the mostly what I see in my world, from a startup's perspective and then technology perspective, one of the mostly disregarded and underrated skill set is hustling, really trying different ways, just going, knocking the doors, going into there, talking to the right people and so on and so forth. Sometimes people are trying one way, the other, the third, and they're just giving up. I see that a lot, and I would, and this is not easy by any means, right? But just keep hustling and keep chasing, your, not necessarily dream, your strategy, prepare well for it, and then keep hustling and then keep going, and it's going to be fine. I think you're at least going to find answers, and that's the most important. The answers, feedback, where you can iterate, where you can evolve, or where you can have an evolution of your product.
Thank you very much, Martynas. Thank you and your team, and you definitely set an example for many, both young startups but also experienced companies to follow, and hopefully see you even more on the news, and your successes are really kind of happy to see them. Thanks.
Thanks a lot. Hopefully that makes sense, and good luck, everyone.
Thank you. And now let's go back to the pitches. So the 6th challenge is how to detect and monitor hate speech on the internet. It was put forward by the Office of Inspector of Journalists ethics together with Ministry of Social Security and Labor, and is now being solved by Kodami. Challenge will be presented by Alona, and Dominikas will introduce the solution.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Kill all Jews in gas cameras. Kill all ugly and stinky Muslims. Only dead Russian is good Russian. Hate speech. It flooded all the internet portals and social media platforms. It humiliates and harms the society. Still, in Lithuania, in the last 3 years, it increased 30%. Yet, it is very hard to detect, and we had no tool that could provide us help in detection and reporting till now. Today, I am very pleased and honored to announce you that we have an AI-based tool that will help us fighting hate speech. It was created by the best team. Future looks much brighter for us now. Dominika, fire it up.
Okay, thank you, Alona. So we are Kodami, and we help to make internet cleaner place for all. Internet is like our Gotham City without Batman, full of people that go by their way, do their own stuff, sometimes of unlawful things that are not seen or contained. Due to this reason, we have the feeling that we are not judged, so we can do some felonies over and over again. So what we need is a Batman, and we think we can be the Batman. The Batman that can not only find the criminals, but as well teach people about the consequences of their act. One of the prettiest languages currently circulating around the world is my native language, Lithuanian. It is miraculous and tongue-bending due to the word variety of prefixes, suffixes, and endings that makes AI datasets a nightmare. Social networks, news portals, blogs, and other places provide the environment not only for the news or to shape our social environment. It is the best place where we can express ourselves in any form we like, from time to time leaving all of the negativity that we gather from hard days of work straight into the comment section. As we have found out, this is the best place to mine how to get data with the most unique expressions of hate speech that is certainly hard to think about. Here we have a crawling and scraping system that scrapes all of the comments of from one of the news sites and saves them into the data files that are later used for our artificial intelligence to learn word patterns that show the hate speech. Before feeding text to artificial intelligence, words are cleansed from prefixes, suffixes, and endings, so only the roots of the words are left. And all of the small roots of the words are then provided to AI, which decides whether there is pattern of the hate speech in it or not. One of my early career mentors told me that we as creators have to teach our clients about the technologies so they could help us in defining the vision of the tool. So together with the Journalist Ethic Office, we have defined the desired system. We hopefully showed how AI understands the Lithuanian languages, and they showed us how the hate speech really looks like. So the core system elements are created, and we are not stopping now. We still need to get better results of the AI and combine all of the developed parts into one strong solution. We see more business opportunities here as we see more parties that have difficulties with hate speech online. I mean, other governmental institutions like the Suicide Prevention Bureau, definitely the news portals, and maybe even physical person during their communication crisis. The solution would be accessible on subscription basis for business to business and one-time order for business to customer. Everyone wants to have their Batman. So the battles are never won with one soldier on the field. So let me introduce the heavy lifting team that has worked on this tool intensively. Here we have Laimonas with a huge experience in data analytics and AI, our CEO Aglia, which handles all our business management, and me, Dominikas, with some experience in artificial intelligence and robotics. And we call to participate you here. Let's chat and find ways to minimize this ever-growing issue in our society. Let's cleanse our Gotham and have a peaceful place for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dominikas. Thank you, Alona. That's a very, very inspiring presentation. And let's jump right into the questions. And we already have a question from Audrus, and he asked, what kind of social networks do you scan, if any?
So currently we're scanning Facebook. We plan to go into YouTube to get all of the comments under ever-growing Lithuanian YouTuber Society. So that are the main ones. We are thinking now about the others such as TikTok and Instagram.
Okay, yeah, keeping up with the times. And we have a question that's probably going to be a bit more to the institution, but Dominikas, maybe you can expand a bit as well. Of course, there is a lot of that kind of fear questions around how do you define hate speech, and how do you deal with different definitions of hate speech, what constitutes it. So how do you come about in solving this question and defining it for yourself?
I don't know if I'm able to answer this question in correct way. I know that Alona can talk about it for hours and hours, so maybe she can shortly minimize it.
Thank you very much for the question. It's really tricky to answer the question, because it has a lot to do with expertise, but anything that is humiliating, that monks, that degrades people, certain vulnerable groups of people, it is presumed to be a hate speech. This is something that is illegal, and this is something that is not suitable to be in the internet. This is something that has to be removed from the internet. So very shortly, that would be my answer, because otherwise I will talk about that for ages.
Thank you. We have a few more questions as well, more around the language aspect, because of course Lithuanian is quite difficult language, and you mentioned that in the presentation as well. Do you think that because of Lithuanian language, that kind of the algorithms that you developed are more complex than that would be for English language, or can that be in any way transferable between different languages?
So talking from the language point of view, so Lithuanian is one of the hardest language due to the word morphology. We don't see the need even to go to other languages such as English, because there are already some tools developed by Google and Facebook. It would be nice to look into the Russian side, because we have a lot of Russian commands, as well as probably look into some of the Polish part, because we have some ethnic groups that define themselves as Lithuanian Polish. So there may be as well a part where we would like to look at.
And we also have, coming back maybe to the first question that was about the scanning different social networks. There is a question of, how do you scan the social networks? Do you go to like personal profiles, or like just general timelines or something? Is there anything that you can share now to reveal a bit about the process?
Yeah, so looking straightforward, we don't go into the profiles. We scan the news sites that are free for all. You can look at them, look at those comments, etc. We don't go into the closed groups. We don't go into the certain person profiles, etc.
Okay. Thank you very much. We have another question as well about that boundaries between hate speech and free speech, but I think that's what Alana was saying, that that's I guess a conversation for, like, I don't know, I wanted to say 1 hour discussion, but probably 24-hour discussion, more like that. But I guess we start from like the easiest definitions of what is.
Yeah. If I can comment, I just can say that when we started to learn our AIs, we never thought that it's a great issue. I would suggest people just to go around, go into the internet, go into the popular news portals, news sites, go into the comments and read those comments, and then you can see the truth that we see now. We have this Gotham that is not monitored, and we have a big issue in here.
Thank you very much.
Have 1 sec to answer the question between what is the difference between the hate speech and freedom of expression. The answer is very short. European Court of Human Rights said, and it's reiterated in numerous decisions, that hate speech has nothing to do with the freedom of expression. So it is out of the scope of freedom of expression. It is illegal and it is criminal offense. This is just a very short intervention.
Thank you very much. And thank you both, Alana and Dominikas, for the presentation. And now the 7th challenge is how to create a real-time satellite image of Lithuania. It was put forward by Statistics Lithuania and is now being solved by a team of scientists from Kaunas Technology University. Challenge will be presented by Jan, and Valentas will introduce the solution. The stage is yours.
Hello, everyone. Having to prepare official statistics in the old way by using questionnaires is a problem for 2 reasons. We have to bother respondents and waste their precious time. And second, because information acquired this way is not ideally accurate or timely. To mitigate those 2 problems, we're searching for the ways to use modern technology to acquire information for statistical process. For this reason, we started this challenge to have a primal source, a clean, cloudless, fogless map of Lithuania with highest possible periodicity. Having that, we will work on solving problems of official statistics and maybe creating some experimental statistics along the way. Our first task in this work is to identify crop fields and then crop types on those fields, so we don't have to ask farmers for the information. Helping with us with this problem is Kaunas Technological University. Valentai, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. So I firstly want to present our team. We were 3 people working in the project. So I am from School of Business and Economic, mostly working with applied artificial intelligence for economics. And Andrius Tautvydas was from informatics faculty, and Andrius is specializing in optimization, and Tautvydas in IT server infrastructure, well, it's called like distributed computing. So our challenge, well, didn't begin with GovTech. Last year, we started working with aerial images, so images from the plain of Lithuania that has some similarities with satellite images. And because of our experience, we applied to the GovTech, where we had the opportunity together with statistics department to work on a satellite project. And now I will present the prototype, and in the future hope that we can implement this project in practice. But we are not limited only to statistics department. There can be other applications also. So how does the solution look like? So we created a map of Lithuania from open access to Copernicus database. And the issue is that the satellite images are not taken for the whole country, and sometimes we have clouds in them. So because of that, we need to combine multiple images together. We need to determine where are the cloudy parts and create a whole country map. So here you see an example of 1 month period images, and there are some parts that are missing because of the clouds. And if we want to create the whole region like in one scope, maybe we need to take 3, 4, 5 months to do that, but it depends also on the task. So if we want to analyze only one part, for example, Vilnius or some other, so maybe only 1 month is enough. So on the left side, you see an example of a like zoomed in area that doesn't have any clouds even in 1 month. And the main challenge in here is that the 1 month data, the raw images takes place about 600 gigabytes. And to process everything and to combine that requires some IT infrastructure to do that. So how does the solution look from our part? Well, we use the open access Copernicus database to gather the raw images. The system has a pre-built ability to detect cloudy areas. And we then saved the raw images in one database and also combined a common map of Lithuania. And when the user uses this application, they can select a time period of interest or a location that we want, and they can export that image simply as a TIFF file with geo-information, or use that online as an API service. And in the future, well, we need to decide how to use this solution. Should it be in university or in statistics department or applied in other institutes? So when we have the map, what we can do with that, there are different areas of application. But for example, one area could be to estimate how the city will grow to which parts and then to plan infrastructure in advance. Well, we often see that a lot of like houses and buildings are started to being built, but when we have issues with school or shopping and different like facilities, and if we can estimate that the city will grow in this parts a few years before, we can also save like construction cost and so on. And what statistics department mentioned, that we can also focus on agriculture to determine land. So I want to show an example of what we did with aerial image for building detection. So we used about 3 periods of images from 3 periods. And the issue there was that the high resolution images takes place about 10 terabytes of information, and to analyze that all together on the graphical card, we need to separate the images into smaller chunks and have the ability to quickly load, process, save the result, and so on. So this requires like distributed computational infrastructure that from our side, Tautvydas was an expert in. And when we do that, what we can do, we can detect buildings in different periods and check their change over time. And from that change, we can develop a heat map. And from that heat map, like I mentioned, we can estimate in future what will happen. We can determine existing spots. So here you see an example how it can look like. And of course, we are not limited only in agriculture or building detection. We can think about other object recognition tasks. So in this case, we are also interested in collaboration projects. If you see some potential in the remote sensing data and want to prepare some solutions, we can do that together. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vailentas, and thank you, Jan, for the presentations. And we can jump straight into the questions. And we already have one that you covered in the presentation, but maybe you could just reiterate so people actually know, what satellite sources were you using for the images?
Yeah, so this is open access from Copernicus, and it's called Sentinel. And there are Sentinel-2 satellite images and Sentinel-1 radar images. So they can measure the reflection from the surface. That also has different quality depending on the objects we want to recognize.
Yeah, and thinking more about where in different areas that can be used, this solution could be used. Did you consider any commercial applications or something like that, where both you mentioned about urban growth, kind of the change of the cities? Are there any also private companies that would be interested in having these kind of tools as well?
Well, I think one of the usage mainly is from government side, maybe from municipalities, and at least at this moment we are seeing that more from a collaboration perspective from university. And more private companies, maybe investors and real estate developers, that they could plan their projects, but well, I think the main usage could be government institutes.
And I have another question that I have here is, did you have any specific difficulties in terms of working, creating the solutions and using the satellite images? Is it, was it like easily available and everything, or, of course, you mentioned the required kind of space and the terabytes used for the tool. Could you just cover a bit that part as well?
Yeah, so the main programming tasks were covered by Tautvydas and Andrius, so I think they could comment more precisely on this side. But from our discussion and collaboration, so there are one issue with data size and to determine the requirements. So, for example, if we want to simply develop the map and save it, well, it doesn't take too much space after processing. But if we want to save the raw data, so like I mentioned in the Sentinel-2 example, about 1 month period of data takes up to 600 gigabytes. And if we want to save, let's say, last 5 years of information, well, we have some size issues. And another thing is when we want to apply that for object recognition. So if we want to load in the computer the whole country at once, which can take, I don't know, a few gigabytes, 100 gigabytes to terabyte, well, depending on the quality of the image. And when we train a neural network to recognize images, well, we need to do that on a graphical card. And the graphical card doesn't have much memory inside. So we need to separate the large image into smaller pieces, and then we need to load them, save them, and load them again. So it's like a bandwidth issue between the hard drive and the graphical side, the GPU, like the graphical card. So a bit of IT technical issues, how to make that efficient and quickly.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for your presentation, and good luck with developing the solution. And now we have the 8th challenge called how to verify identity and facial images quickly and reliably. It was put forward by Migration Department and is now being solved by Neurotechnology. Challenge will be presented by Evelina, and Vytautas will introduce the solution. The stage is yours.
Hello. My name is Evelina Gutsinskaite, and I'm the General Manager of the Migration Department. Every day, Migration Department carries out over 2,000 procedures where we must establish the identity of our client. That is, we must check if the person in the document is the same person as the one standing in front of us, or if the person in one document is the same person as in another document. And we must do it quickly and reliably. So far, solutions which are available in the market do not meet our requirements for personal data protection or usability. But we believe that Neurotechnology have come up with a solution for us.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vytautas Pranskenas from Neurotechnology. I'm glad to be here, and thank you, Evelina, for believing in us. Our company is already 30 years old, and our main focus is on research and development of various algorithms. Mostly we excel in biometrics and also in other fields. So we are based here in Vilnius. So it is very good opportunity for us to be here and to meet authorities here in our local country. Most of our staff are very high qualification employees, many with PhD degrees, and more than 90% of our staff is dedicated to research and development. Our core algorithms are for fingerprint recognition, face recognition, irises, and also voice and palm prints. We already have quite some awards, which are by winning competitions, which are held by National Institute of Standard and Technology in the United States. So we are ranking top places in these competitions. Our algorithms can be used in many sectors, mostly for government, national ID, elections, border control, law enforcement, and others. And usually, as we base ourselves as technology provider, we do not engage in delivery of end user related products. We have a lot of integrator companies which go and work directly with the client, and our engine, our algorithms are being used under the hood, and usually we don't get too much feedback from actual projects. And it was very nice to have this challenge available to us. So we could work together with the authorities here in Lithuania, hand to hand, to hear them what current tools they have, what problems they meet. So it was a great opportunity to hear them out and to deliver this application, which is solving the risen problem. So we created a Android application which captures live face image from the handheld device's camera, and then we read ID card for MRZ code, and then we read data from the card using NFC. When both items are read, we compare them, the photo from the card ID with a live image, and we return the result for matching. So process is quite simple, and it is not very new, but using this kind of activity throughout all the day for a human person might be very tiresome, and having a tool at hand to help with this daily use, to assist with the identification of people, should help to identify any fraud activities, any people who try to make an imposter with a wrong document. I wanted to present our Mega Matcher online website, which allows to create account for free and test all the activities that we done with the authority. We tested out various actions, what we can do with just face images. We compared images available to the webcams, even from conference cams. We used Facebook images, we used masks, we used even John Cena mask. So this tool really can help, and face modality is really accessible, and we can really do a lot with it. So I hope this tool will be of use to immigration department. I think we will have more discussions and more meetings with them. We speak about identification tasks, which are quite more problematic and requires both research and investigation and preparation. Think about the processes which we can do, and I hope that our call to action would not only show us on the map for Lithuanian companies who have similar problems to solve, and maybe they need just some guidance from us as a technology provider. So all integrator companies, all authority companies, and any people who are keen on biometrics, and maybe they have other problems that they can raise that our research people can solve, I urge you to reach out to us, and we will work together. If anybody has any questions, I would gladly answer.
Thank you, Vytautas, and thank you, Evelina, for very interesting and very interactive presentation as well. We have a few questions already in the chat. We have a question from Gabriela, and she asked, how do you deal with the with the problem of bias in facial recognition algorithms, and how is it reflected in training of your data?
Bias for what? For there was a reason question.
Yeah. How do you deal with the problem of bias in facial recognition algorithms? So I guess, how do you ensure that it actually has a diverse faces of people that you train your algorithms on?
Actually, our algorithm people did quite some testing, and we think that the bias is not there. Like usually it comes more with the quality related things. When you have like two face images which are blurred, they will definitely will look more alike one to another. But between the different ethnicities, we didn't find any like big problems. Like all the accuracy is under 5% of margin, so it shouldn't be affected by race.
Thank you. And we have also a question from Paulus. I'm not sure what acronym one stands for, but maybe you will be able to clarify. Do you provide the solution as an SDK to use in other apps? I don't know if maybe that's you know what the SDK means?
Yeah, SDK stands for Software Development Kit, which is oriented to integrator or development companies who has their own programmers, and they use it to add the functionalities to their own applications. So yes, you are correct. Most of our products, we provide the software development kits, but of course we have
like 80% ready solutions for big governmental projects, which can also be used. I hope this answers the question.
Yeah, and final question, you mentioned that Demanta asked that you mentioned that it recognized faces with face masks as well. Are there any false positives?
Yes, of course. Facial recognition is not foolproof, but it can be a great tool to assist in various investigations, especially for law enforcement. It really saves quite a lot of time when you need to go through a very big list of faces.
Well, thanks a lot, Vytautas and Evelina, for the presentation. I hope this project moves forward successfully. And now we actually have the last challenge, which is how to match green consumers and green products. It was put forward by the Ministry of Environment, and the ideas on how to solve are being generated by Darom. As many of you know, Darom usually focuses on organizing different events for cleaning the environment. However, to clean our environment more effectively, they're now thinking of working on tech solution as well, and they will need your help. So listen in, and this challenge will be presented by Arnos, and Ignas will introduce their ideas.
So, hello everyone. All of us do care about the environment, but all of us face the same issue about the information overload. Do you know where to find simple and reliable information about how to clean the environment properly, or where to put some packages, or even where to buy environmentally friendly products? It seems that we found a solution to this problem by sharing a few ideas with you, and my project colleagues will develop this idea further.
Thank you, Armas. So our challenge is how to match green consumers and green products. We thought we would start from a large vision how to make Lithuania one of the greenest countries in the world. And for that, we would need to find a way how to inform consumers before and after buying the product about its impact on the environment. The challenge which we face, or the problem, is the oversupply of green information. We are constantly bombarded by social media, online resources, producers, consumers, different government agencies, and so on. What to buy? Is there another more greener alternative for the product that we are buying? Can we recycle the product? Can we share? And what to do after using the product? To address this problem, we decided that we will have a unique citizen involvement platform that would encompass education, communication, doing, and sustainable consumption. We envision 4 modules of this platform. The first module is what consumer has to know before buying the product. What is its environmental impact? The second module, after buying the product, should the consumer reuse, recycle, share, or maybe share the product? The third module of our platform is the integration with existing sales platforms, allowing consumers to choose a greener alternative and to see his or her impact on the environment. And finally, the fourth module is our Let's Do It initiative to clean all Lithuania from garbage and trash. Our project timeline is as follows. We are planning to launch the 4th module of the Cleaning Lithuania from Garbage platform module in April 2021. In September of next year, we would launch module 1 and 2. That is information before and after buying the product. And finally, by April 2022, we would launch our 3rd module, integrating the platform with existing sales platforms. Hopefully, we'll have 100,000 users by the May of 2022, and we'll clean all Lithuania from trash by April 2023. The first module is what consumer has to know before buying a certain product. This will be a database filled by users, their comments, their evaluations and rankings, and it will involve different kind of products, from food products, clothing, cosmetics, cleaning supplies, electronics, and so on. This module would also show the impact of specific materials like glass, paper, plastic, metals, and other materials. The mobile application eventually will scan the product by its barcode and will show the information about the product's environmental impact from our database. And we're very happy that we established a partnership with the Nordic Council of Ministers, and we'll tell you about the second module of the platform that we'll integrate together with our colleagues from Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Finland. In 2016, Denmark introduced these 89 pictograms about different products, plastics, metals, glass, and so on. This system of pictograms was introduced by Sweden, Norway, and Finland, and it will be introduced by Iceland. And the next wave is Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. So it's almost certain that Lithuania will introduce these 89 pictograms about describing different products, and our platform will be very useful to inform consumers about the products. As you can see from the slide here, the special pictogram will be on the product next to the barcode, and the person will be able to access information in our platform about this specific pictogram and about the impact of the product. The system was introduced in Denmark in 2016. These are the different pictograms that you can see more clearly. And as I mentioned, the system is already introduced in Norway, Iceland, Sweden, and Finland. This is how the system looked in Sweden before introducing this pictograms. Each different municipality had its own signs about waste, trash, and different types of trash and waste and recycling materials. This is how the system looks after the introduction of this pictograms. Each type of materials has its own pictogram, and they are used in the sorting departments. This is what you can see, how the system was introduced in the cities of Sweden, and also how it looks on the trash cans. And our call to action is that we need IT companies to design the platform and investors to help in our endeavor. So thank you very much, and I hope I'll receive some questions.
Thank you very much, Ignas, and thank you, Arnus, from the presentations. And that definitely sounds very, very exciting. And can you elaborate a bit more in terms of further steps to kind of ensure that this is successful? You mentioned that you would need tech companies and investors. Is there anyone else or anything else that you're looking for to ensure that these great ideas can come to life and benefit the society, and especially where we start in Lithuania, but we never know where we can then scale from here?
Exactly. I guess the first thing, we'll need to design our platform, the IT side of it. And we already talked with a couple of Lithuanian companies, but if there are any other IT people who would like to help us, please give us a shout, and we'll happily talk with you. We will introduce this Swedish, Finnish, Danish platform of pictograms in next year. So we are very happy about that. And actually this connection happened partially because of GovTech process. Because during the process, we kept in touch with the Ministry of Environment. It was in touch with the Nordic Council, we were looking for partners to implement the pictogram system in Lithuania. And that's how we made the deal, and we got some funding for that, but we are very happy.
That sounds very exciting, and I'm sure with all the kind of additional focus on the Green Deal and the green economy, this will definitely become even more important for everyone, and especially for people on the ground. Thank you very much for the presentation. If there will be any more questions, feel free to stay on the chat afterwards in the live stream to answer them. But now I wanted again to say thank you to both your team and all the teams for their amazing presentations. I hope all of you at home are giving a big round of applause for startups and companies and NGOs and public sector institutions that worked very hard to present this today. And I'm sure that some of you are wondering what's next or how can you contribute? Well, there are 3 key messages that I'd like to leave you with. And to do that, I'll try to share my screen. Everyone today successfully did that, so hopefully I can do that as well. So first, the hard work of many of these teams are just starting, and it starts beyond today. Working on developing these concepts and these pilots into full products, finding viable business models, expanding beyond the one institution, all of this work starts beyond today. So you heard 9 calls for action. And if any of the products interest you, if you would like to join any of the teams, as an investor, as a team member, or assist in any other way, please do. And also, if you would like to become one of their clients, feel free to contact them or us, and we'll be happy to connect you with them. Second, a very exciting point is that we already started our 3rd GovTech Challenge series. At the moment, we're collecting challenges from public sector institutions, and our primary deadline is 13th of December, and you can find the form on Meta website or follow the link that's on the slides. If you think that your institution would like to participate, but you're not sure how the process works or how to define the challenge, you can definitely contact us, and we would be more than happy to go through the process and help you define the challenge. We really hope to select around 10 best challenges for our next GovTech Challenge series as well, and they will be out next February for startups and companies to solve. Next, we'll have even more exciting news. Have even more exciting news. And at the moment, all of the companies that participate in the challenge series are doing that on a voluntary basis without any prior commitments to their any prior contractual commitments or anything else. But we're always on the hunt to try and find ways how public sector institutions can experiment within public procurement framework. So if any of you joined us for the introduction of the challenges event this summer, you might remember that we had 1 extra institution that presented the challenge, but did not appear here, and they're road maintenance, and they're back with a blast. So together with Mobility Innovation Center, they're looking to find an innovative dynamic route planning solution that could look at and combine different data from state-of-the-art forecasting system to create the most efficient routes for winter road maintenance. And road maintenance institution decided to pilot such solution within the public procurement framework, which we're very happy about. This procurement will be open to everyone, startups, SMEs, and large enterprises. Everyone will be able to apply. And they will run it as a design contest, and the winner of the contest will have a chance to negotiate a contract for an estimated around 10,000 euros to pilot their solution for 2 months. And of course, if the pilot works, the further solution development will be encouraged and worked on. Mobility Innovation Center, together with road maintenance, already had a market consultation around this procurement this November, and hopefully this procurement will be out and presented in the upcoming weeks. So you can find more information in the Mobility Innovation Center website. We'll share the link as well in the chat. It's mobilitytech.lt at Dynamic Routes. So I'll share again the link, and hopefully you'll be able to participate in this exciting upcoming opportunity. And we hope that even more institutions will take on the challenge of trying to experiment within public procurement framework. So stay tuned, and you can definitely find more information on Mobility Innovation Center Facebook, LinkedIn, on our Facebook and LinkedIn, and hopefully you'll participate. Now, thanks again for joining us today, and hope you all had a great afternoon, and see you at the next demo day. Bye-bye.